Okay, and here we have some game news about a development company called Daybreak. They do a lot of stuff for Sony, and on the PC side, they would be the guys that look after a game like DC Universe, PlanetSide 2, things like that. And I don't know how many people it says here that got laid off, but there's a bunch of them, and you're seeing a bit of this happen because there's a lot of uncertainty, especially in the tech hardware side, uh, due to the possibility that trade negotiations don't go well and you get some tariffs in December, which is like they happen like about a week or so before Christmas. I mean, it's crazy what Trump's doing. He's basically he is totally going to tank the world economy. Just and I just I don't know. I'm just glad I'm going to have money to get my hardware before Christmas, so that if things go silly and all my online games were to go poof, right? I have the actual ability then at that point to at least design something to entertain myself. So, the other side effect of this might be is that you could be looking at in the future another kind of apocalypse where advertisers aren't going to be paying as much money, and therefore people at YouTube aren't going to be making as much money, and then they're just going to kick the can down to the rest of us, where um, nobody's seen an actual raise in years, even though Google's been making more and more and more and more and more and more money anyway. But they always want to make more than they did the last time, so that's why no one gets a raise, right? And you're technically not employees, you're subcontractors in that sense, right? And I don't know of a subcontractor that works for nothing, but that seems to be the majority of us. That's why I have that philosophy of, hey, maybe I'm never going to bother even applying for monetization if I get there, just because that'll really tell everybody that you're about having fun and doing whatever. You know, I really don't care either way. Um, yeah, you just see such a change in people too. Sometimes when they start getting monetized, they have to be so worried and careful about everything they do, and you know, it just doesn't seem to be in that sense. But anyway, let me look more at this article here. Yeah, I was looking. I was there's some talk in the Unreal channel about Epic should try and gobble up something. If Sony seems to be there's something big happening at Sony, and it could be very well be because of they and other tech companies were begging Trump not to do these tariffs. So I'm assuming that small preparations like laying off some people and doing you're not going to see if they had been sure that there wouldn't have been tariffs and this trade war wasn't going on, you probably would have seen a PlayStation 5 this Christmas. Okay, that's just my thoughts, right? Um, if the trade war happened or these new rounds of tariffs happen, and you see um, 30% extra on tech costs, and the reason I say it's a variation, right? It'll depend on what technology you're buying, because let's say you have a part that's made in Japan and then it has to go to China to get assembled into another part. Well, then it's getting tariffed at 15%. Then it comes back out of China and goes back to Japan, gets put in another part, and then sent back to China. Well, there's another 15%. So you see how this starts to add up, and it will get stupid real quick. And monitors are going to be just good, good lord. there's a lot of technology in some of these monitors. And everything's going to be affected. And I've seen some pretty crazy things about certain big companies in the U.S. about how they raided all their pension funds, and now that those are suddenly coming to term, as they say, they're having to beg and borrow money to finance that, which puts things into a worst case scenario eventually. You're going to see, it's going to be an interesting year. I'll say that much. And I think from all the PR that China and Russia are doing lately, especially Putin, with talking to the Saudis, talking to um, being very public. Like, and he does. He's a good public speaker. It's it's unfortunate that there's such an anti-Russian thing because it's a democratic country. Yeah, okay. You've got Putin, that's ex-KGB guy. Well, you had John Bolton sitting right beside, and you got Pompeo there, and you know what I mean. Like, it's such an oxymoron for how they all not getting along. Just imagine if Russia and the U.S. were allies instead of China and the U.S. It would be interesting, but whatever. I'm up here in Canada. We get to kind of watch all the rest of you kind of carry on. um, so yeah, this is and da, 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 da. I'm reading through this, and these Daybreak people. Um, hmm. And it looks like other people are leaving too. There must be something going on at Sony because a lot of shifting around and changing of things. Hmm. Okay. So the realigning of the company into separate things here. Let me do this. Hold on a minute here. Let me do a little interaction here at the bottom. There's a thing. Where was it? Right here. Here we go. Okay. This is a couple of days ago. Um, so it looks like one of the guys that left. Oh, wait a minute. What's this about? Okay, the realignment into separate franchise teams. Line should leave as possible. Multiple websites and trademarks for Dark Paw Games, Rogue Planet Games, Golden Age Studios, plus it registered a new Dave Game Studios LLC. In other words, they're bankrupting one of their things and then they're splitting it back into different pieces. Yeah. And then they just started registering trademarks for stuff. Yeah. this is kind of a pattern with Sony. They go for a while, they make some great stuff, and then it just sort of falls apart, and they just shatter things to pieces. I don't know. And it usually happens when there's a change of the guard and stuff like that, which has happened at Sony recently. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw this out there so you guys can see that too. There's other um, things going on too that's coming down the pipes, and like I said, a lot of these companies aren't stupid, and if they know you got to get a piece of hardware, you're not going to be buying a video game, do you? So they're going to be looking at a little bit less sales somewhere on the line. And I noticed that graphic card prices and different things like that have come way down. And I think that's because what companies are doing, and I had this confirmed by someone else, um, they're buying up lots as much as they can right now, so they will have a supply for a little while. And the thing is, things run out, then it gets tight. That's why I say if you're going to buy something for somebody for the holidays, um, do it well before Christmas, like early December, and then you know um, you'll at least be paying what it's normally at, and you won't be paying more. And I think a lot of people are kind of worried about all of this, and some people might not be spending as much. And this is part of the how recessions and all these economic systems kind of start steamrolling into something bad, is where people get nervous and they stop being normal consumers. And yeah, seen this happening a lot, and I could predict this right when this silliness started. And you're even seeing weakness in Europe. You're seeing weakness in across the board. So anyway, um, there's also some in the news. There were some riots in Catalonia, Spain, about their independence because they arrested um, some of the separatist leaders, and it was because what they did was against the law. Apparently, I don't know. I don't know as much about that, but there was some pretty graphic pictures I didn't want to show. So, yeah, people are. There's definitely something in the air that's having everybody get at each other. So, like I said to one guy, I'm taking a day off and I'm just gonna play games and not post anything, and just so I can put my music on, that I don't have to worry about copyright issues and all this jazz, and just go into some fantastic world and just be out of reality for a while, because it's normal to do that, and it's healthy, because then you can come back fresh, okay, and you can have a better perspective on everything rather than being burnt out and just negative, right? Uh, I'm gonna have to start writing down some ideas for what I want to do in December here. So this is where I start to get a little more serious about what I want to do and how I'm gonna do it. And I have some other ideas. It may include some extra people. We'll see. We have ideas. Um, I've done things with large groups of people, small groups of people, teams, etc. before, so I know what's required. I know what's needed. Blah blah blah. So anyway, I leave this here, and yeah. So it's tomorrow. Today is actually when. So I'll see you guys maybe on Thursday, unless some really wacky news comes out. And this is usually what happens. As soon as I take a day or two off, stupid things always start happening. Anyway, take care.